in Joel Rubin, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State in the Obama administration. Joel, thanks so much for being here.
Great to be with you, Adi.
So yesterday, Iran's president basically said that they were rejecting this because of, quote, breach of promises, alluding to the fact that Trump withdrew from the 2018, Trump withdrew from the nuclear deal. So are we looking at the fallout from that diplomatic approach?
Well, we certainly have not benefited from that diplomatic decision by Donald Trump 7 years ago to get out of the nuclear deal. There's one fundamental point about nuclear negotiations with Iran, which is that the only way to verifiably constrain their nuclear program is through a diplomatic agreement that they sign up to. And they did that in 2015. They were restrained. It was verifiable. The international community said so.
And we should say many conservatives, the Trump administration, of course, they have long criticized that deal. They did not see it as airtight as it was built by the Obama administration. And so they're approaching this differently.
Yeah, and, you know, they were critical of the nuclear components to a certain extent, but what they were more upset about was the broader issues related to Iran's engagement in the region, support for militias and terrorist groups, ballistic missile program, all legitimate concerns. And so now the question for President Trump is he going just for a nuclear arrangement, or does he want to deal with the other issues as well?
Which is their activities in the region. Well, how far will he go to stop that?
Exactly.
Iran has talked about indirect talks through a country like Oman. Is that even possible at this point? Can secret talks work, so to speak?
It can, but, you know, with President Trump, it doesn't seem like much is very secret at this stage. I mean, when he's going on an airplane and threatening to bomb another country, he really puts the whole dynamic into a box. Having back channels now there were some back channels, actually. Early on in December, Elon Musk did meet with Iran's ambassador at the UN, so there were some discussions.
Say that again. It was Elon Musk who met.
Elon Musk met with Iran's ambassador at the United Nations in December. And in fact, now President Trump, he did send a letter to the Supreme Leader, which is a smart move, a back channel of sorts. But now that's all blown up, and now it's out in the open.
I want to talk about Russia for a second. And the reason why is because, yet again, here's where Trump is issuing a kind of deadline. He's basically saying because Vladimir Putin is not exactly embracing this approach to a deal with Ukraine, he says that he's going to threaten Russia with more tariffs. Listen to how he explains it.
It's a psychological deadline. If I think they're tapping us along, I will not be happy about it.
A psychological deadline. I want to talk about this approach. What do you hear in this?
Diplomacy by diktat. I don't hear diplomacy. I don't hear a plan or a strategy. I don't hear that there's a real mechanism for follow through. I agree that more pressure needs to be put on Vladimir Putin. I think that President Trump has failed to do that for the first couple of months.
But people are arguing that Trump has also brought many more conversations to a negotiating point than was happening under the prior administration.
Well, he certainly has spoken to the Russians, and he's had Steve Witkoff engage and go to Moscow. Have they obtained concessions? No. And right now, it looks like the United States, rather than building a coalition of diplomatic allies in support of this process, he's kind of doing it on his own and making pronouncements. And that's not structural. It's like what we saw with Kim Jong-un back in 2019 when President Trump said, I'm going to make a deal with North Korea. There was no follow through. There was no process, and ultimately, even after meeting with him, there was no deal.
All right. Joel Rubin, thanks so much for your insight. I hope we have you back.